Long ago, in the foggy days when knights wore armor and castles stood tall, being precise meant being good with your spears, bows, and arrows. Archers, the silent sentinels of medieval realms, gazed through crude sights, striving for accuracy in the chaos of battle. Little did they know that their quest for precision would spark a revolution, a journey through time that would ultimately lead to the creation of the most advanced sniper rifle scopes we have today. But how did we go from there to where we are now? Well, before we get into that, please do well to give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe for more. Okay, let's get started. You see, the first precision weapons that shot stuff didn't have much going for them. The first one was probably a spear or hatchet thrown by someone, and it was lucky if it went 50 feet. Not a big improvement from hunting by hand. Then people came up with the bow and arrow, the earliest version dating back around 70,000 years. But when it came to hitting the target, these hunters only had one thing to rely on: their eyes. Aiming at an animal meant one shot because if you missed, the animal would usually run away. The same went for other early shooting things, like the throwing star from Japan known as shuriken, dart guns with poison, and the boomerang that comes back. They could do a lot of damage if aimed right. Even with more advanced weapons using gunpowder, like muskets and cannons, you just had to figure out where your target would be and shoot. The next big thing didn't come from war, but from an unexpected place. For thousands of years, people just relied on their eyes, but there were no guarantees. Dust in the eye or a foggy day could mess up a mission. Then, in the 1630s, an astronomer named William Gascoigne accidentally left his telescope open one day and a spider crawled in. When he saw the spider web, he realized it was in focus with faraway objects. This led him to create the first telescopic sight, a prototype. Fast forward to 1776, during the Revolutionary War in America. The Americans were outnumbered and were on the verge of losing the war, but they had smart thinkers. Ben Franklin was famous, and others like Charles Willson Peale and David Rittenhouse had brilliant ideas. Peale and Rittenhouse thought of putting a telescopic sight on a rifle. But the first try didn't work well. The scope improved the view, but when the rifle was fired, the recoil pushed the scope into the shooter's eye, which was not good. However, in 1855, an optician named William Malcolm made a better scope using lenses like the ones in telescopes. It could magnify images 3 to 20 times, which is a big advantage for shooters, and they would need it soon. In 1861, when the Civil War started, both the Union and Confederate armies had more powerful weapons than ever before. The Confederates were known for their sharp shooters, often putting soldiers in trees to pick off Union soldiers from above. It's said that the only major general killed during the war, Union Commander John Sedgwick, was shot by a sniper from almost 2,400 feet away. The Confederates mainly used scoped rifles from England, which were expensive, but worth it. These rifles were basic, but had a big impact. The scopes were simple side-mounted telescopes, combining two inventions into one deadly package. Shooters would look through the scope, get a clearer picture of their target, and then shoot. The real power was the ability to scare enemy troops from long distances. Union troops would walk into what looked like an open field but turn into a killing field as snipers picked them off from almost half a mile away. These weapons were a big part of the Confederacy's early success. The Union soon joined in, using American-made weapons. The Union Army had a sharpshooter squad since 1861, and soldiers needed to pass a marksmanship test to get these weapons. These sharpshooters had more freedom, not having to do typical chores or drills, and could pursue high-value targets at their own pace. Meanwhile, in Germany, the term sniper was developed, derived from Scharfschütze or sharpshooter. The British used these weapons heavily in India, engaging in combat in thick jungles. By World War I, both armies were armed with long-range guns, causing a lot of damage from a mile away. Around 1880, a new innovation, the refractorscope, made its way onto the scene. It allowed light to pass directly to the eye, making it easier to see in low-light conditions. The German army was quick to adopt this new technology, giving them an advantage in World War I. When the U.S. Army entered the war, they had to catch up. They retrofitted existing guns with scopes, and the First War where sniper scopes weren't a surprise. but a common tool. The U.S. won the war despite being at a disadvantage early on. After the war, sniper rifles became a part of military strategy. The U.S. focused on upgrading optical technology, wanting more powerful scopes, longer-range weapons, and smaller rounds. During World War II, sniper rifles played a significant role, and the Unreal 10X scope became highly effective, especially in bad weather. During the Second World War, there was intense ground combat in Europe and the jungles of Asia against the Japanese. Both presented challenges for shooters in low visibility, but the scopes handled it well, except at night. When it got dark, shooting, especially for snipers, largely stopped because the rifles couldn't handle low light conditions. The Nazis, however, came up with a solution in 1944, the Vampir system. It was a rifle scope with an infrared spotlight powered by a heavy battery backpack. Despite being cumbersome and having limitations, the Nazis thought it was promising and used it in combat in February 1945, just months before the war ended. Although it didn't work out for them, it laid the groundwork for future developments in night vision. After World War II, the Korean War didn't see much innovation in weapons, but it provided an opportunity for weapons companies on the home front. The 1950s marked the mainstream introduction of rifle scopes to civilians. Initially limited to military use, the scopes eventually became popular among hunters, allowing them to shoot from a distance without getting too close to potentially dangerous animals. These early scopes typically had a magnification of up to 6x, but as demand for high-quality rifles increased, arms companies introduced more powerful scopes. These analog refracting scopes stood the test of time and are still usable today. The Vietnam War saw a shift in tactics, with North Vietnamese troops extensively using snipers. Carlos Hathcock, a U.S. Marine, became a sniper legend by modifying a classic M2 machine gun with a basic telescopic scope. Despite the powerful recoil, he achieved incredible accuracy, recording 93 confirmed kills and setting a record for the longest kill at over 6,000 feet. This success led to the development of the M107 rifle, a standard weapon for long-range engagements. So how did we get from there to today? You see, after the Vietnam War, the U.S. was not involved in major conflicts for several decades until the turn of the millennium. During this time, advancements in rifle scope technology continued due to both military and civilian demand. The high-powered 10x rifle scopes, initially used in military weapons, became standard on hunting rifles. Designers improved glass quality and started using transparent polymers, making scopes lighter and more durable. Electronic advancements followed, moving from simple fixed devices to scopes with variable magnification. This allowed snipers to adjust the perspective based on the target's distance and the required shot clarity. A significant innovation introduced laser sights, recognizable by the telltale red dot. Laser sights facilitated precise targeting, making it easier for snipers to measure the target and communicate precise aiming locations within a sniper squad. As the War on Terror commenced in 2001, military operations shifted to fighting terror groups and insurgents in complex urban and mountainous terrains. The need for accurate, rapid target acquisition became crucial, emphasizing the importance of advanced sniper scopes. Currently, the U.S. is not engaged in major wars, but technological advancements in sniper scopes continue, mostly driven by civilian demand from enthusiastic hunters. Well, the future may see the development of better, though not necessarily larger, scopes for civilian use. However, the emergence of unmanned drones might prevent rifle scopes from being as essential as they were, because a machine is the only thing better than a human that can take out enemy targets from afar without putting anyone at risk. So, could these deadly robots be putting snipers out of work soon? Well, not so fast, because while machines offer a risk-free approach to precision targeting, skilled human snipers remain an essential and potentially deadly asset. The future of sniper scopes may later involve a dynamic interplay between human expertise and evolving technologies. Alright guys, that wraps up our video for today. If you found this video interesting, please do well to give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more.